I was working in the prison, Walpole, Massachusetts, one of the infamous max security prisons. Many books have been written actually about Walpole, Massachusetts, and that is where I began my career as a corrections officer, working with all types of people that were deemed by society to be such a menace or such a threat to society that many of the people that I worked with are probably still there, more than likely are still there.
So we can actually equate them to where God stood just before the flood, looking at the evil and needing to do something about it. In Walpole, Massachusetts, you couldn't just go out and send a flood and destroy them all. You had to do something with them.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's been a career. Started in corrections, moved to Florida in 2001. Quickly got hired with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, and have been there since.
So how do you apply these principles of love? Let's look at a couple. The first, fairly easy. In your life, I think you do put God first and foremost, and then your family very close second. And I don't think you have a problem with the concept of loving your neighbors as yourself. But I'll bet that's a challenge in the prison population.
So Dale, it is a challenge, and I think you've numbered them. I think the number one, love God first and foremost, is so important, and I'll explain how it has impacted my life. If we are able to put God first and foremost, I strongly believe, I know, that your paradigm shifts. You begin to look at people as children of God. No matter who the people are or what they've done, they become children of God. And I think based on that, you or I have been able to, first and foremost, be effective in my profession and be able to offer inmates basic humanity, basic decency, to be able to see them as humans, as children of God, regardless of what they've done. And I'm going to take 2 minutes to give you a story because it just came to my mind, and this happened very recently. We had an inmate come into our facility, and right from the start, the inmate was having a lot of issues with officers, numerous what we call uses of forces, meaning the inmate was attacking other officers. We were able to stabilize the inmate. He was in an isolation cell, and I was doing my rounds, and the inmate was starting to get agitated again, banging on doors and hitting windows and stuff like that. And when I had a conversation with this inmate, his issue was that he said he'd been there for about a week and a half and he hadn't had a shower. And I'm going to show you how, or I'm going to use this to explain how if you put God first and you begin to see people not for what they've done, but for who they are, which is children of God. And when he said that, immediately I started to think, I said, well, if he is saying the truth on this, he's right. That we need to give him a shower, regardless of the threat that we might have when we open this door, because he's been attacking us. We have to do it. And when we researched it, he had gotten there about a week and a half prior and had not received the shower. And so I went back and I told him, you have a valid point. The only problem is, if I open this door, are you going to comply with our rules? Are you going to be able to function, or are you going to attack us like you've done the last, 8, 9 times that we've interacted with you? And so the inmate, of course, he said he was going to comply, but it was a risk. It was something that, based on his prior behavior, I would have been justified to say, well, you're too dangerous. We're not gonna give you a shower. And yet we wound up showering that inmate that night, and he gave us no problems. He came out. Of course, we used restraints just for precaution. We restrained him, but he had no issues. And that in itself is an example of that love that we're talking about. I was able to see this inmate not for attacking us, but for just being a human being and just needing a shower, a simple basic need. And we were able to deliver that with no issues. And that, I believe, this is just my personal opinion, happens when we put God first in everything we do. And I know that kind of sounds ironic or kind of, it kind of sounds like it doesn't go, but we, even in law enforcement, God has to be
squishy.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I'll tell you what, Dale. I had expressed to the inmate that if he did resist, I had explained to him what the consequences were going to be, and they weren't squishy. They weren't any.
So he had a risk in the whole process too.
Absolutely. We all shared a risk there, and it worked out fine. Now, I'm not saying that every time that's going to happen. By no means am I going to say that every time in my career that something like that has happened, it's come out that good. But it doesn't matter. The fact is that we intend, or the intent, to treat people like God's children. And that really is the bottom line.
So how would you say that approach is being accepted by the inmates in general? Do they see it?
It's interesting that you say that, because unbeknownst to me, I was being watched by another inmate who was down the hallway. I would say about, I don't know, maybe 50 feet away. I didn't think he was in hearing distance, but later that evening, the deputy who runs that unit came to me and said, "Sarge, the inmate that was out there was very grateful that you did that." And his exact comment was, "Wow, that is one sergeant we have there. You see that? It took Sergeant Vasquez to give that guy a shower." Mm-hmm. So with the inmates is well received. We are professionals. We're there to do a job, and regardless of what's going on, we get the job done. We are professionals on that. So
I understand that your sheriff, Dennis Lima, and your chief appreciate the approach and support.
Absolutely. Our sheriff is big on, we serve the community of Seminole County, and the way we serve the community is by attempting to correct behavior and rehabilitate inmates. Mm-hmm. And I think it's innovative in the sense that we have so many programs to try and get these people who come through our doors to give them a skill or something so that when they leave our doors, they're able to become productive citizens of our community. And that really is the basis or the mission of our sheriff. Yeah. So I'm ecstatic. I love working with Sheriff Lima. I think he's an amazing person, very enlightened person. It took me a while to understand, but I think that's where God wants me, and that's where the calling is. Studied ministry, but I was to minister to these men and women that are in our prison systems. So.
And every time he has tried to leave law enforcement, he gets drawn back in.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we thank you for being a light in a place that seemed to be dark, but I believe differently. I believe that there will be a place called light in that location, and that will cause the God in you to illuminate extremely vast. My uncle has been a lifer. So when you said about you from Sheridan, I knew about Sheridan. My uncle has been in prison my entire life. And I watched God.
Did he start at the Sheridan Correctional Facility?
No, he first started in Pontiac. That's where he first
Pontiac,
went.
sure.
He went to Pontiac. No, I'm sorry. He went to Menards first, then Pontiac. And I watched God use him. And I tell people often, there are times that God allows you to have different journeys, different paths to take you where you have to go. And I watched God use him mightily. He is more effective in prison with prison ministry than he would ever be out on the street.
Wow.
And so when Sam said that the outcasts, the throwaways, I'm very happy to say that I now know an additional God servant who can stand and be a light in that place and bring his illumination, bring his presence, bring his love there. So they know that you made a mistake, okay? What are we going to do from that mistake? How do we journey from here? And so I'm very, very proud of you and very pleased that you have made that commitment to serve. I love that. I think that's beautiful.